good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Fundraising BIDness Talk, where we discuss the latest and great best practices and things that are happening in the fundraising auction business. My name is Patrick Cyber, and I have a company called G Events based in Beaverton, Oregon, and have been in the event business for the last 30 some odd years, the last 10 or so doing fundraising auction. So it's great to have you today. Want to encourage you all to drop your name in the chat window and let us know where you're from. Say hello. We always enjoy knowing who's watching and checking in with you. And also, hey, feel free, drop in a question at any point and let us know. We'll be able to see it and we'll answer it right here on the air today with you. So my guest today is a very person that I met a while back, and she was a volunteer working with her school auction, and we just clicked. She's got a lot of energy. She is incredibly dedicated to helping out her school where her children go, and she's incredibly talented as a graphic designer and does a lot of different things. And so we got to talking here not too long ago about theming events, and it's kind of a interesting topic to me as we move into this, as we move deeper, I should say, into the world of virtual events. It's, as with so many other elements of our fundraising auctions, the landscape has changed dramatically. So, hey, I want to add her to the show, and please welcome Lindsay Zogas. Lindsay, what's happening?
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing terrific. It's a beautiful day here in Portland, Oregon. It doesn't get any better, right? I mean,
no, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's awesome. So, hey, welcome to the show. Tell our audience a little bit about Lindsay Zogas and your background and what you have done and what you were focused on in the design business.
Yeah, well, thank you for the introduction. Very nice. I feel the same for you.
Thank you.
So fun working with you. So I've been a graphic designer for 15 years. About 10 years ago, I started a wedding invitation business. And through that wedding industry and networking, I met a lot of other event and wedding professionals. And one summer, a wedding coordinator friend of mine asked if I'd ever want to help out with an event. It was a little side job. And I was like, sure. I mean, weddings are fun. And I fell in love with wedding planning and coordinating. The production aspect of it was just so fun to be part of. So that really just kind of started that little phase of my life. And then when my kids started attending St. Rose, where they go to school, my oldest was in pre-K, I thought, I'll just join the auction committee. More event planning fun. It'll be good to get to know people and support the school. And several years later, they're able to hire me as a fundraising consultant. Yeah. So I get to plan the event, I'm kind of the liaison between the school and the parent community, and use my graphic design skills to help round it all out with some great design.
Yeah, absolutely. And you do a fabulous job. I've always, the years that I've been at St. Rose, whether it was the Kentucky Derby theme, the first year I was there. Yeah. And then I know we were planning a big event last year with the movie industry. And I was overwhelmed with how you have kind of led your committee on getting, the consistency in the overall look of the event and things. Kind of share with our audience when we talk about theming. Let's start with what it was in the gathering environment, and then let's take a pause and then move into what it looks like now and how it's changed. So yeah, share with us what it looked like and what your thoughts were, pre-COVID.
Well, it was good to have the wedding experience, because I always thought, the invitation, the save the date, it's the first look that you give your guests into what they can expect for your event. So with our fundraisers, starting off with the save the date, whatever our theme was, we would then pull that look and feel into the event itself. So a couple years ago, the theme was La Vie and St. Rose. So it was a Paris theme, black and white with pink. So all the paper goods, this invitation, save the date, program cover, bar signage, all had the same look and feel. And then the ballroom itself was set up with a stage with twinkle lights and a Eiffel Tower and the logo up big on the screen and black and white, pink napkins, that kind of thing. My favorite. I love the little details.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and you know what? It's all about that experience. I mean, as an auctioneer, I appreciate when the organizer, the host, has thought about really the attendees' experience, right?
Yes.
Because if they're having a great time and they're caught up in it, then they're going to be usually a little looser in the pocketbook, and you know, which is going to bring me to another point in a moment. But yeah, I mean, it's phenomenal when we talk about all the things. You know, I said to you casually earlier, I said, well, you know, we're not worried about the centerpieces anymore, right? But you know, there's a long list of items that you've incorporated into the theming of events that you've been involved in.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's much larger. And you know, you probably have heard me say it over our years together, but I have always been somewhat sensitive to theming, that we don't create a obstacle to support. In other words, what I mean by that is I've seen some organizations that have created themes and made them so important to the event that people have to, you know, they're shopping at the, you know, Goodwill and the secondhand stores to get their costume. They're, you know, they feel like they have to go out and buy a new gala dress, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And as an auctioneer, I'm always sensitive to that. When you create a theme, that don't saddle the attendees with the cost of that theme, right?
Yeah,
Make it more about the atmosphere. And I've always seen that that's what you guys have done such a phenomenal job at. And now we jump into the world of virtual, and everything spins around tremendously, right? So now, you know, the focus is so many more things. And so, you know, when we first made this transition, I was pretty clear with my clients that I said, you know what, I'm not too worried about themes at this point, right? When we first started, because I felt like really we want to capture, you know, that bigger audience. And I thought about the amount of time that a lot of committees had spent on theming. And it makes sense when you're having the exact same people come as came last year, as came the year before, right? In the virtual world, I was focused on expanding the demographics. And so I felt like we were going to reach an audience who hadn't attended the event in the past, and, or, you know, were somehow connected to the organization, whether they were alumni of the school, whether they were someone who had been involved with an organization, and then they, for career or life change, they moved away. And virtual was an opportunity to reach out to those people. And I also felt like it was an opportunity to attract new donors. So I wanted really the messaging to be mission-based, and really explaining who the organization is, versus getting caught up in what, you know, the theme of the event was. But, you know, there's the how would I say it? The assets are drastically different in a virtual than they are in a gathering event. Can you share with me some of the things that you're thinking about as a designer now? I mean, save the dates are kind of irrelevant now, right? I mean, you know, we don't, and we're using social media. We're not trying to just sell 200 tickets to get in the ballroom. Give me your thoughts.
Yeah, it's all digital. So your email invitation, we did an email save the date for this year's fundraiser, and then an email invitation, and then Instagram, Facebook. It's just all social media and being shared that way. So what can you do to make people excited to open up that email, that they're not like, oh, it's just another ask to give and donate. You want to make it feel more special. So this year we're doing a stand-up comedy theme. And so I designed a logo that has, well, it's called Stand Up for St. Rose. How perfect is that? So the logo has the mic and the spotlight and the red curtain. So we're going to be pulling that red curtain into our event next Wednesday evening. So just little things like that to get people excited, so it feels like just more special than just any regular ask.
Yeah, and you know, what gets me excited, and one of the reasons I wanted to chat with you about this on the show today, is because when we start talking about digital, really the opportunity is unlimited, right?
Yeah.
Whereas when we were in that gathering event, you as a designer could have created an unbelievable look, whatever the elements were for the event, but then it was budget restricted, right? You could design a stage set, and it was whether the organization could rent those props, whether they were available, all those things. But now as we go into digital, wow, that's got to be exciting. I mean, it's your time, right?
World. Yeah. And even just like our invitation this year included different graphics for each section of our website. So it's the invitation that leads you to the RSVP page, a little blurb about what they can expect that leads you to the donate page, a blurb about the wall of wine where you can go support us in that way. So it just gives us an opportunity to really show that all the different options and ways to support, and again, get people excited for the night so they know what to expect. And I guess we could have done that in years past, but we sent out paper invitations most of the time, which again is an expense. And so here we are now having this tool, just sending an email leading to different areas of the website.
Well, and even past the email, right? I mean, now we're worried about having a consistent look or a theme to even our social media campaign, right? I mean, that's a whole different world. I mean, and this is an area where I really want to make this point to our audience and the people who watch the replays, is that here's an opportunity now, because the production cost of invitations and specialty napkins and specialty paperware and things of that nature, right? Those costs go out the window. We talk all the time about the virtual world. There's a lot less cost. We're not buying meals. We're not buying centerpieces. We're not I'm gonna encourage our audience to reach out and hire a professional to help you with this element of your event. And as we go through the rest of the show today, I'm going to reinforce why I think that's important, because I think having someone with the talent and the understanding and the knowledge of whether it's the social media aspects, whether it's how to take that theme and run it through all the assets that you're going to use for your event, couldn't be more important. Because as we move into this virtual world, the competition's more than ever too, right?
Yeah,
the opportunity is huge, but my concern is the competition, right? And so, I think that's big time. I wanted to share with our audience. I just love Stand Up for St. Rose. This is a concept that, we talked about having some comedy involved, and we've been very lucky to have, Alex Falcone, who's obviously was Portland's Funniest Man in 2018. And I'm going to share this with our group, but it was here's a perfect example of your work, right? I mean, you took, hey, we're gonna have Alex involved with our event, and you instantly said Stand Up for St. Rose, right? And it, give me a sense of, I mean, even in the website, even the colors of the buttons match the theme, right?
Yeah. And the video there that will be the live event next week, you asked for a video thumbnail, and I was able to get that over to you. So just things like that a professional would know how to create the different assets that are needed for different sites, like the header for this at the very top, and then this little round of applause graphic, just all those different details, just make it feel consistent. That same red color is used throughout on all the buttons and highlight links, that kind of thing.
Even down to, you set up a Vimeo channel for your videos, right? And you gave it the microphone icon. I love that in this production. Hey, while I'm thinking, I always got to give a shout out to my buddy Tim Stewart. Tim is a fellow auctioneer and a wealth of knowledge in the industry. Tim, he does benefits. He specializes in real estate and at auction, using the auction method, and does some great things. So Tim, thanks for tuning in as always. Hopefully I was saying, to Lindsay earlier, I said, I hope my friend Tim tunes in today. I don't know if I should be caught charging tuition or he's just my biggest fan, but thanks, Tim, so much. I always appreciate having you in the audience. So, but you're right. Even as simple as this icon right here is crazy to me. Those are those little touches that people look at and they go, wow, this event is together. And, I think we can all go to our social media, what do you call them? News, what do you call it? The scroll with everybody's, timeline to your social media timeline. And maybe it's partially me being an auctioneer and being in the fundraising business, but my timeline is littered with fundraising events. Right. And I got to be honest, the ones that have video, the ones that have a consistent and cool, unique look are the only ones that I tap on. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's the case. I mean, so the beauty here is everything is tied together. I mean, the round of applause down here I just think that's awesome. And now our plan is to take this through the entire event, right? We're going to have some testimonials from young people, go to the school, and also parents and whatnot. And we've been working on a red curtain to open on their video, and and I don't know if we were able to find a microphone like this for them to use, but in their videos, but
Maybe.
Just that importance, of theming the event it's phenomenal.
Yeah, one of our parent testimonials, I just got it the other day, and they start off with a joke and a silly hat. So just they really played into it. I think we'll just make the whole night feel really fun.
Yeah. And that's, at the end of the day, it's, that's what we want, right? We're there to raise funds, but I can tell you, doing this for a living in the fundraising business, I mean, if people are having a good time, they're going to, the messages that we communicate that night through the agenda and through the speaking components are going to resonate, and then we just ask, right? And away they go. But
when people feel taken care of, they are emotionally invested, just the little details mean, maybe people won't notice the icon, but they would have noticed if it was just the blank Vimeo blue smiley face, which is why I was like, I have to change it. I haven't figured out how to change the color of the text though. It says welcome to from Alex.
I'll show you. I think it is, and I'll show you where. But you notice when I put my cursor over it, it does turn red, and I think that is your red. Yeah. So it's you would be better at that than me, and from St. Rose.
So I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah, and then the even the wall of wine, you incorporated the theme in that, right? Mm-hmm. With the two different types of wine, you went with wall of wine, the warm up act. I love that, right? I mean, once again, it's all about theming to the night, and you feel like you're at the comedy club, right? Yeah. I mean, the warm up act, it's a less expensive bottle of wine. The headliner cost a little bit more, right?
Yeah. Just fun little ways to pull it in there. Yeah,
I see a lot of these websites, but no, you've done fabulous. This is great. Oh, I mean, it's awesome. And then this graphic that you put together for me the other day, like on a dime, right? I mean, I think that it's for a lot of organizations hosting events that I work with, they're trying to do this with volunteers, which is great. Mm-hmm. And you could never pay all those people for the time that they spend on the event.
Yeah.
At the same time, I think that there are certain categories that will return on the investment. One, obviously, as the auctioneer, I feel pretty strongly about that. Second of all, though, I think in this new world, having graphic designers, and especially someone like you who's got the talent to knock this stuff out, and it's always going to look the same, and it's always going to be the right color, and it's going to be professional. I think it's well worth the investment for organizations to do that.
Yeah, I think so too. And that's kind of where I started out volunteering at the school until, it was realized that it's a job. And so
Yeah.
it was nice that they were able to hire me in order to do all of this work. I'm very grateful because it's so much fun. And then I have everything available. So when a wedding or an event professional needs a video thumbnail, I can turn that around really quickly.
Yeah. And I think the other element to that is too, when they've hired you to be involved in the event, they do that on a regular basis. Right. And I know that many times, depending on the clients, right, if I'm working with a school-oriented group or a how would I say, more of a grassroots nonprofit organization, a lot of times those committees turn over, right?
Yeah.
And especially in the school environment, because people tend to support and get involved while their children are there, and then they've done it, and they're out of school, and the next group is in. And having someone in your position or in my position who can show up to the committee meeting with a bunch of new faces and say, hey, even people that have been on the committees for years, if they haven't been the chair, they really haven't rode the bull yet, have they?
Yeah. Yeah, that was 2 years of co-chairing. I was like, this is a job. This is a lot.
Yeah. No, it's a lot of things. So, the one of the things I wanted to make sure that was that we let people know how to reach out to you, because that's important. It's great to, see some of your work and all that other stuff. So tell me, what are some of the areas you see my events, things that I do. Give me a sense of what are some opportunities that you feel like, it'd be really cool if we incorporated this into a theme, or, what would be some of those ideas?
For wait, we say that again. I think
I confused you. That was my fault.
No, but I think I cut out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're there. Give me a sense of some elements that you think in this new virtual world, people aren't thinking about, that the right person like yourself can bring to the table.
Oh man, that's a good question. Do you have like theme ideas?
Yeah, theming. What are you thinking when you think about a virtual event today, and people say, hey, we probably, or someone like me at a committee meeting says, what are we doing for social media? What kind of is your strategy or your thoughts with incorporating the theme into social media, and then how's best to get it out?
Yeah. Well, this year's is a great example of how this whole theme even came to be. We didn't, we knew it was a fundraiser for the school. So you kind of start with that, like, what's the goal here? It wasn't going to be an auction. We were going to have some prizes and a wall of wine and some things to sell, but it wasn't an auction. It's a fundraiser. So how do you make a 30 to 45 minute event something that people will want to watch? Well, then we realized we had Alex Falcone, who was a Portland resident who moved to LA. He's a comedian. So we could still have him do a stand-up bit for us. People know about this, so I'm not spoiling any secrets for next week.
Right.
But so then we have a comedian. So it started with school event. We have a comedian. And then there are a few other ideas. I won't go into detail just in case anyone watches this, don't want to spoil it, but other comedy aspects that we could throw into the event. So it came together really naturally and organically, which is really fun. So I think just starting with what is the event, and what's the end goal, what's the brand or the company, and just finding something that resonates. Like for St. Rose, we've done plenty of events with Rose in the title. We did Run for the Roses, Kentucky Derby theme, Lovey and St. Rose. So that's always been fun, just pulling the school name in, and then it comes together really nicely.
Yeah. And then what are you thinking as far as when you create assets for social media? Are you thinking, do you have an opinion as you are incorporating that theme on? Do you run the same graphic over and over and over, or do you, tend to create multiples and, multiple graphics and kind of roll them out in advance of the event?
Yeah, I suggest doing that. It's nice. Like the wall of wine one that you shared is I created a graphic similar that can stand alone on Instagram and Facebook. When we did the invitation, I did square graphics for Instagram. So it was a carousel. I think that's what it's called. There's multiple.
Yeah.
There's multiple images. And so then using the same or similar, so to mix it up, because people will not pay attention if after a while, if they keep seeing the same graphic, it just doesn't look special anymore. Right. So using like the black and red color scheme, the same fonts will get attention, but not be boring or repetitive.
Right. No, I think it's definitely crucial to the success is to, be creative and have a campaign, right? Yeah. And the reason I bring this up is it reinforces my point, right? It was one thing when they had to design the cover of the catalog, right? And a volunteer with their crayons could get that done. Okay. But now there are so many different assets to what we're doing in the fundraising event that you have to have a lot of different assets, and that reinforces why you need to hire a professional.
Right. Well, and even Instagram, you want a square image for a post, but then you need a long skinny for a story. So just those kind of things to keep in mind too, that they need to be designed to different sizes, just so that it looks nice.
Right. And it's not just going to Canva and doing it yourself, right? I mean, it's
good.
Yeah, you could, but I hope you have a lot of time on your hands, right? I mean,
those things can be difficult to figure out. Right.
Well, and what I find as an auctioneer is that everybody's got, these grand ideas 6 months before the event, and everybody's going to get up and go do it. And the reality is they don't quite get around to it. So reinforcing again, folks, take the money that you have already spent at your gathering event for centerpieces, for decorations, for those things, bundle those dollars up and find Lindsay Zogas and hire Lindsay and make life easier. All right. And the best thing is you won't ask me to sell your centerpieces after the event. Right. That's always my greatest fear. We've just raised $100,000 and somebody says, can you sell these $25 centerpieces? We have 20 tables of these centerpieces. Right. And I don't want to offend them because they've probably spent a couple of $1,000s on them. Right. And I'm like, there's a long list I have, Lindsay, of I've been thinking about it over the last several months about things I do not miss about gathering events, right?
Yeah, well, it's good to know for eventually when we go back in person. I'll make sure we won't sell our centerpieces.
Yeah, no, but I mean it's crazy. I mean, it's stuff like, hey, there are no lines at the bar, there are no lines at the bathroom. Right. Nobody has gotten a cold meal. If they did, it was their own fault, right?
Yes, exactly.
The vegetarian selection is wonderful, right? I mean, it's just, there's a long list. There's no lines anywhere. You don't have to stand to register, you don't, I mean, it's phenomenal. And so that's the reason I bring that up is because I think, as we're starting, as here at G Events, we're starting to work on some hybrid events with folks, and I'm excited about them. There's a group in Central Oregon we're talking to, for a November event. We're actually doing one next month out in Yamhill County. And it's scaled, right? So what we're doing is we're 100% doing virtual. There's no question about that. But we are going to add a studio audience as long as the governor allows, right? Whatever that size is, if it's 50 people, if it's 75 people. So we're at a venue and give me a sense. Do you ever care about what the venue is and how you incorporate that into your theming?
Well, I think it depends. We at school, we're around the corner from the German American Society,
right?
Which is a great space for our number, and we're able to really customize. We're able to take down some things that they have on display, and the stage is perfect for pipe and drape and any color scheme to kind of match what we're doing. But it just kind of depends on what was important, bringing your outside catering in, or if you'd rather have a venue that already has catering and tables and chairs. Some places include all of that, like the German American Society, they include tables and chairs. So that's just one more thing you don't have to rent.
Yeah. But they give you kind of a blank canvas, right?
Yeah.
And what I'm seeing is that as we move into this hybrid environment, one of the things that I'm excited about it, and I think it'll be theming will be incorporated, is that because the hybrid event has a smaller audience, right? As a rule, and maybe they need more space, but they're a smaller audience. It really opens the door to the venues that we didn't have before, right? I mean, if I was going to host, if you didn't do your event at German American Society and you have about 225 people there, I think is my recollection. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
How many places are there within a couple of miles, 5 miles of the school that you could have 250 people at? Not many.
Not many. I know. I can think of one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So now if I told you that, hey, we're going to live stream this event and we'd like to have a studio audience, we think we can accommodate 50 people. How many venues could you find that we could do 50 people? Plenty. Right? Plenty. I think about this format for this event, Stand Up for St. Rose. And I think to myself, wouldn't that be cool if it was a hybrid event and we were doing it at Clyde's, right?
Yeah.
Based on, we could do that in the back room at Clyde's, and we could add that atmosphere and have that whole theme, carry through. It would be pretty cool.
Yeah. Curtain and a little microphone. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like next month we're doing an event at a winery out at Stoller. And, they've got outdoor space, indoor space, and, we're not, whereas before this event we're doing was at the Sentinel because they had 400 people in a ballroom, right? Yep. And you get to that number and there's, I don't know, less than 10 places in the city, in the metro area that you can put that group, right? Right.
Yeah.
And put a stage and put the right audio visual and everything else. And it's a lot of centerpieces, right?
It's a lot of centerpieces.
Yeah, I love centerpieces. It's like London colors, right?
I'm remembering we gave them away at our last event. So
no, I've never sold them for you. No, I probably told you I don't sell centerpieces, but I try not to be a diva, but occasionally I do draw the line. I have sold my share of centerpieces, but
yeah, you're right. At the end of a night, like not make money off of just any little thing.
It's like, hey, we've got leftover steak. You want one on the way out the door, right? And add to the list of things we won't miss is you won't have cleanup after this event next week, right?
Yeah.
There's no cleanup. If it is, it's moving files on your desktop, right?
Clearing some space back off.
Yeah. Well, no, this has been fun. Anybody can reach out to you, right? At Lindsay Zogas.
Yeah, just contact me. I'm happy to chat, about events and graphic design needs. It's so fun. I love this kind of work because it's fulfilling, brings a lot of joy, and it's fun. I have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, no, there's nothing better than seeing it. If there's something I do miss about the gathering events is that energy in the room. It's a little more, it's not quite as, the adrenaline doesn't quite get as going when I'm staring at this Logitech 920, or even tonight, I'm going to be in the studio tonight with the children's course and wine and golf ball.
Nice. Oh, nice.
One of my favorite events. But we're in the studio and it's great. But when we go off the air, it's kind of like, oh, now what? It's like nobody's worn out. It's all, and you can't go out to, you barely go out to dinner and whatever else. It's there's no after party. It's kind of disappointing. I need to go to Clyde's. Maybe I'll slide up to Clyde's tonight after the Yeah, absolutely. But anyhow, Lindsay, thank you so much, folks. If you want what I think is one of the most outstanding individuals in this arena to help theme your event, whether it's virtual, gathering, hybrid, I can't stress enough. Hire a professional and hire Lindsay and make your event stand out, stand up, and do some wonderful things. So, hey, Lindsay, thanks so much for joining me.
Of course,
today.
Thanks for having me.
All righty. I appreciate it. And that'll be fantastic. We'll, Folks, it's been good, and I've enjoyed chatting with you about theming your events and giving you a few tips here and there. I want to remind you, when you watch the replays, just tag it with hashtag fundraising BIDness talk. And we're live every Wednesday at noon Pacific Standard Time to talk about current trends and best practices happening in the fundraising auction business. And as I always say, it does not matter where you start the bidding, it's where you finish. Bid high and bid often. And we appreciate you being with us today. Have a great day.